These arrests on DaBaby have been kept silent from social media for many different reasons. Now, these arrests can sentence DaBaby to near life in prison if convicted. We need to talk about this, so let's get straight into it. Now, DaBaby's name in the media has been getting absolutely ruined, with everyone going after DaBaby for things he said at one of his last concerts around a month ago. Many people have now investigated DaBaby and found out a lot about his previous court cases that are almost ready to go to trial for. Now, this all starts on January 7th. Rapper DaBaby and his entourage were out shopping at a Montclair. When at the cash register and paying for the goods, DaBaby went to grab for his wallet out of his pocket, and in the process he ended up revealing a firearm that was tucked into his waistband to the person working the cash register. Now, the Montclair worker at the register noticed the firearm and ended up taking action when DaBaby was walking out of the store. The worker ended up calling law enforcement, claiming that a man in his store had a firearm on him and is now exiting the store going to his vehicle. Now, this is when law enforcement quickly rushed over to the shopping center. They ended up finding DaBaby as he was exiting the parking lot, and they surrounded DaBaby's vehicle. Law enforcement brought out canine units. They brought out every single thing you can imagine, as they do not mess around when things are at shopping centers with firearms. They ended up doing a really heavy search throughout DaBaby's vehicle. They found a firearm in the side pocket of his car, the same side that DaBaby was actually sitting on. Now, once found, DaBaby was then arrested on site, as him holding an illegal firearm has been a very bad ongoing issue with him. As on November 5th in 2018, at around 6:30 p.m. in a Huntersville Walmart, rapper DaBaby was actually with his baby mama and children ages 1 and 5 at the time. When shopping inside of the Walmart, allegedly a man that was under the influence ended up walking into the Walmart and holding a firearm in the process. The man then walked to the center of the Walmart and he ended up flashing the firearm in the air while screaming. As I said, the man started screaming and scaring all of the customers, and that is when rapper DaBaby pulls out his firearm and kinda creeps up on the man, and he ends up dealing with the situation in front of a ton of witnesses inside of the Walmart. Now, DaBaby ended up speaking on this situation later on his Instagram account, and even his lawyers were telling him to not speak about it online, but DaBaby said he didn't care. DaBaby ended up sharing on his Instagram account saying, and I quote, "I'm not going to let anyone get the chance of getting near my family, so I had to do what I had to do." Now, at the time, DaBaby did not have a firearm license and still does not to this day. Now, this does mean that DaBaby was holding the firearm illegally, just like he was at the Montclair store. Now, in court, DaBaby was actually thanked for being a hero in this situation, but it sadly doesn't mean that he gets off the hook for holding an illegal firearm. DaBaby was then sentenced to 1 year in probation, and he was told to never hold a firearm illegally again. So this obviously all changed when he was at the Montclair store and he was ended up being caught and surrounded by law enforcement when his store clerk noticed he had one. So at his latest court hearing, the judge spoke to DaBaby about his issues with holding a firearm. They're very curious as to why he doesn't just hire 24/7 security, and he typically does when he has concerts, but when he's going in public, he decides to not have it because he would rather deal with his own situations. This is when the courtroom ended up looking through the criminal history of DaBaby, and this is actually what the courtroom ended up finding out about this rapper. They ended up noticing that DaBaby's first arrest occurred on June 15th in 2013. The Charlotte Police Department allegedly caught DaBaby with possession of half an ounce and carrying a concealed firearm. Luckily, these were both misdemeanors in North Carolina, but this was only the start of his firearm issues. DaBaby's second arrest happened on December 16th in 2013. Now, details on this case are a little bit scarce, but still, online records show that DaBaby was charged with misdemeanor of possession once again. This leads into DaBaby's third arrest, which was once made again by the police department in Charlotte, but these charges were a lot more serious compared to his others. He was charged for this arrest with a felony of possession of carrying a concealed firearm. Now, DaBaby was ended up being taken into jail for this. He was later released on $5,000 bond, which he obviously ended up paying, and he was later released from jail. But let's just hope that these charges were at least reduced down to a misdemeanor, as after him paying his bail, there was actually no update for this case, weirdly enough. This then leads us into DaBaby's fourth arrest. He once again gets caught with another firearm. DaBaby was arrested in Raleigh, North Carolina. Sources say that DaBaby was in North Carolina to perform for his Baby Talk 5 tour. Upon arrival, the police department allegedly caught DaBaby with a firearm that was not registered in his name, meaning it was bought illegally and was held illegally. The police department then proceeded to book DaBaby on one charge of possession of a stolen firearm, as it was later reported that it was taken from somebody's glove box. Obviously, it was not DaBaby who stole this out of some car. He probably got one of his team members to buy it off the streets, and that's how he ended up getting possession of the firearm. It actually happens a lot in the US. Now, with all of these arrests that DaBaby went through with having illegal firearms, it's pretty common for a judge to finally just say, you know what, this is enough chances. We're not going to just let you get free on bail or be on house arrest. We're going to make you learn your lesson so you no longer carry an illegal firearm. This has happened to multiple people, and going through the criminal history of DaBaby, he's been arrested about 5 times for holding an illegal firearm. Now, sources online are claiming that DaBaby can be looking from anywhere from 5 to 20 years in prison, as he did once again have that issue in the Walmart where he ended up using a firearm that ended in a very serious situation. So who's to say something like that won't happen again? Now, it's pretty obvious that DaBaby only carries it for his own personal protection. He is a very, very famous rapper, so it only makes sense, but he should definitely have security for these type of things. Now, I am ending the video here. If you did enjoy, leave a like on it, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. It has been District Trending, and I'm out. Peace.